What's going on, guys? Today I'm going to explain why this is the laser engraver I have been waiting for, and how the design of this could honestly change the way engravers are made moving forward. Before we start, Laserpecker did send me this unit to review, but I have a really hard time accepting reviews or collaborations. If you've been a follower of the channel for a while, you know that's just not something I do. I have turned down thousands and thousands of dollars in product reviews. Laserpecker is not paying me to do this, not paying me to say anything. They simply send me the unit to see if I would make a video with my thoughts on it. And that is exactly what I'm going to do. So if you're ever at all interested in it, I do have an affiliate link below, as well as a promo code to save you some money. Okay, let's jump into it. Upon receiving it, I was extremely impressed at how well it was packaged. Inside the cardboard box had a separate foam enclosure where everything had its own spot and everything was very well protected. All the accessories and different modules were on top, and then in the middle of the two foam pieces was the main unit, as you see here. So very well packaged. Everything arrived in a mint condition, and it was honestly like a joy to unbox the thing. Moving on to the assembly of the unit, this is the best part. There is none. No screws to screw, no nuts to tighten, no things to click together. You simply pull this out of the box, unfold it, put the laser module in, plug it in, and it's good to go. From the time it's delivered to your doorstep, you can literally have this thing up and running in like 5 minutes, no joke. And that leads to the unique design of this. Laserpecker has engineered a really unique design where it has a very small footprint, but it can do very large engravings. This is what made this laser engraver a game changer, in my opinion. Because although this thing is small and compact, it has a working area where you can laser engrave of 400 by 800 millimeters, which is 15 3/4 inches by 31 3/4 inches. So you can do rather very large engravings with this thing. With an engraving and cutting space that big, it opens up a whole variety of options you can use this for. So what's really awesome about this is, living full-time in an RV, is how small this folds up. So it makes it really compact for storing. Not only that, I know most people don't live in an RV full-time, but even with a smaller shop, not many people have the ability to just have a laser engraver out and have a dedicated spot for it. So being able to fold this up, and with then have the narrow, sleek design, you could slip this under any workbench, up on a shelf somewhere. That's really why I really like the design of this, for sure. The old one I had, I think it had a 400 by 400 work area, so it wasn't even nearly as big as this. And it was just a square. And I had to move it every time. I had the hardest time trying to find a place for that. It's just really bulky, takes up a big footprint for a laser engraver, and that's really where I think this biggest advantage is the working area, and then the way it folds up and is small and compact. It's a really clever design that I think just makes a lot of sense for laser engravers. Okay, let's get into the good stuff. We're going to test the way it engraves, the way it cuts, and make a few cool things. So let's jump into it. So since we've been living in our RV, we really haven't gotten to decorating it all that much. So the first thing I did was just make a simple engraving. It's simply just a tree on a piece of 1x6 poplar, just to make a simple piece of wall art. Now there's a number of ways you can do this. You can find a tree on the web and just convert it to an SVG file. What I do, because I have Canva, is I use that. Not sponsored or anything. It's just a really simple way for me to do that since I have Canva. It is free, but there is a paid version as well, which is far better. So let me show you how I did that. Alright, so I just made a custom size, the piece of my wood here. A typical 1x6 piece of poplar. So it's 5.5 inches wide, and I have it 16 inches long. So I'm just going to kind of make a simple design here. All I'm going to do is bring up a tree, Just completely center it, and that'll be just a simple engraving, but it'll end up being a nice piece of wall art. And what I do is go to download, and then you want to download it as an SVG right here. Bring it into design space. This is Laserpecker's version of kind of like Lightburn. So when you bring it in here, when I hit preview down here, it gives you two options. It'll give you the scope of it, which is what it defaults at, which shows you exactly where the whole engraving is going to take place, which is really cool. So you can kind of coordinate it that way, or you can hit the center, which is probably what I'm going to use. So if you hit the center, it beeps, and then it goes directly to the center of your board. So what I would just do is find the center of your board this way, find the center of your board that way, and make a little cross. So that's what I'm going to do. Basically just line up the laser module's crosshairs with your pencil marks, and there you go. Let's check the scope just to check it, and I'd say that looks pretty good. Just to confirm it, it's not a bad idea to check both of them. So let's do next step, and it starts and does its thing. So it's super simple to get going. I don't know if you can see it, 12:57 right now, so we'll see how long this takes. Okay, so there you go, it just finished up. Beautiful, beautiful detail. And it took about a little under 45 minutes, or a little over 45 minutes. So not too bad. I mean, that's a pretty big piece. And it's got really nice detail. Another thing I'm noticing as well is it engraved a lot darker than my X tool did. I don't know if it was just the settings, but it definitely engraved really nice. And this is a pretty dark piece of poplar as well. So that was a really simple engraving, but as you can see, the detail is phenomenal. And then after that, all I did was give it a quick sanding, threw a coat of clear coat on there, and was able just to hang it on the wall. Very simple piece of wall art, but it does look really good. And a little tip for hanging things in RVs, if you ever need to do that, is I just use double-sided Velcro. Sticks to the wall, I've never had a problem. It'll stay right up there while you're traveling and everything. Next, I made a quick sign to put on the front of our camper. This is for my other YouTube channel as well as my Instagram handle for my profiles for traveling full-time RV life. But as I made this got me thinking of another thing I could do with this. Is people always want custom signs from where they're from, and I could literally do this right on site and have it ready the next day. That's the coolest part about this. That could literally be a whole business idea right there with this thing. Just that. But that's just kind of the point with these laser engravers. The opportunities are literally endless with them. Which led me to the next thing I wanted to try. I wanted to try out cutting on this. But for me, I cannot stand the knick-knack crafty stuff that people make. You know, the stuff you see constantly. I just like to be original over just following what everyone else is making. So I actually designed a unique coaster set right in SketchUp. So this was going to use 1/4 inch lumber, 1/4 inch thick lumber. And all I could get my hands on was poplar at Home Depot, which probably isn't ideal for coasters, but that's what I had. And this will cut through 1/2 inch. That's what they state. I did not test 1/2 inch, but I have seen another video where it did cut through 1/2 inch, no problem. But in SketchUp I designed just 4 round coasters as well as like a unique little holding case for the coasters. And knowing that it can cut through 1/2 inch material, I knew a 1/4 inch was going to be no problem, so it was going to be perfect for testing it out. Alright guys, next up I'm going to try some cutting on this. I got a couple pieces of 1/4-inch poplar. Converted to millimeters is about 6 millimeters. So basically what I'm going to do is cut the coasters and all the pieces for the case first, and then after I can engrave what I want on the coasters. You can do it all together, but I figured I'll just test the cutting separate right now. Let me bring you in here and I'll show you how to set the height for cutting it. Okay, so hopefully you'll be able to see this because it's pretty small, but like I said, 1/4-inch material, which is equivalent to about 6 millimeters. You can see there's a little 6 right there, so what I'm going to do is turn this to adjust it. And I'm going to lower this down until that line lines up with the 6. That's right at about the 6. Flip your little guide up. Now your depth is all set. Okay, here we are. I got the coaster set in there. So I have the power at the highest power and the depth at the slowest speed, and then the settings at 6 millimeters. So that should cut through no problem. So that's all set. The wind speed level I've got on the highest, because I think for cutting, that's what we should do. And I gotta make sure, I gotta delete this. This was a test. So there's that. So I like the look of all that. Let's do one more preview just to confirm. Okay, everything looks good. So now we'll go to next step. And here we go, confirm. Oh, that's quite a bit louder. And there it is cutting. Alright, it just finished up. Took about 40 minutes. Maybe a little under to do a whole coaster set, so that's not too bad. Especially since it pretty much does the work itself after you have it made. And it seemed to have cut through perfectly. There's a little bit of char on the bottom. Nothing a sander can't fix though. Now let's see how I did through the design and these connections here. That should be able to glue up no problem. Definitely needs a little sanding, but I think we're going to be able to make these work pretty nicely. Another thing is, if you guys know, you can see it's not a perfect circle, and this is SketchUp. So I don't really know exactly how to get a perfect circle out of SketchUp. So if I did this again, if I started selling them, say, I would definitely make the circle in Laserpecker Design space, because I did a test before I made this coaster set and it cut that circle in a perfect circle. Out of SketchUp, it's just a lot of really flat lines together. Now, this can be cleaned up on a sander fine, but shouldn't have to do that. I don't know why SketchUp doesn't allow for a perfect circle. So upon completion, I mocked it up, and where the joints came together, they were a little loose for my liking. So I did a little research on why that would be, and I found a couple of videos where when you're making things on a laser that have to go together like that with the tabs, you have to account for the kerf of the laser. So like a saw blade makes a kerf mark, you typically an 1/8 inch kerf mark. The laser itself, although much smaller than an 1/8 inch, has a kerf. So you have to account for that while designing it in SketchUp. I did not know that, so that is something I will have to experiment with and figure it out on the next coaster set I make. But as far as this one goes, I did put it together with just CA glue. The joints were a little sloppy for wood glue. It might have worked, but I just wanted to get it together, get it good, and CA glue did work. With a little playing around, get the kerf mark of this specific laser, and I'm sure that would be a lot better. But that's not the laser's fault. That is My fault for not taking into account the kerf of it. Another thing to note is this specific one came with multiple laser modules. It's got this 20 watt one, which is the only one I used. This is made specifically for metals, engraving on metals, wood, leather, coated metals, glass, and more. But there is also a 2 watt laser module it came with that's made for engraving like more of your fine metals like silver, gold, aluminum, copper. But they did not stop there either. It came with another one where you can actually put like a pencil, a pen, or a Sharpie marker in, and you can actually make drawings and stuff, which is really cool. And that would just open up a bunch of other opportunities for this thing. I just stuck with the 20 watt for wood engraving and cutting because that's what I do. But the other modules would just open up a bunch of other opportunities to just let your creativity fly. So pretty cool that they throw those in there as well. Now when I did get this and unfold it, I did have my doubts about the design. I really liked the idea of the design, but I did have my doubts about it. I wanted to see if it was, you know, flexible that way, and as the laser came down, if it would flex at all. But after using it, after the amount of times I use that, I have no worries about it. The build quality is phenomenal on this thing. Everything ran very smoothly. I absolutely love the idea behind this, and I would not be surprised if other laser companies started following and implementing this design. Not even joking. One thing I did notice that I was not crazy with is picking it up and unfolding everything. This shiny metal part where these modules run along, the laser runs along right this one, and this main thing runs along this way. It is, as you can see, very flimsy. And every time I picked it up, I seem to have gripped it there with my thumb. And it dents in, as you can see. Now, I haven't had an issue. It just dented in, and your heart drops a little bit because you think you're going to dent it and it stays like that. But it doesn't. But moving forward, I would like to see a little more reinforcement there, so you can't do that. There is probably a reason you can do that, though. I would assume there's two things on either side, you know, two wheels that grip it to move it. So there is probably a reason that is that thin and like that. But that is one thing I noticed when it comes to build quality that I wasn't crazy about. But like I said, there might be a reason for that. But other than that, it is great. And seeing as how it comes with multiple laser modules, I also would like to see, at this price point, maybe come with a case for the multiple laser modules. Because obviously you can only have one on the unit at a time. So with the other modules that it offers, a little carry case would be nice to keep them safe from getting broken. Or even a unique way to house it on the unit. So if they were ever to make another LX2 or whatever, maybe that's a few things moving forward I would improve. But other than that, no complaints with it. It has worked great. But as I said, guys, if you're ever interested in it, I do have a link in the description. It is an affiliate link. It does help me out and the channel. And there is a coupon code down there as well, Brady10. That will save you 10% on it. So, and if you're considering a laser engraver, I would definitely do some more research on this. But thanks for watching, guys. Catch you in the next video.